Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute. I hope you can see and hear me alright. I'm just making sure the audio is good. Let me know in chat if anything needs to be adjusted. As you can see, this time around I've got clear skin. I've got lighting on my face. I've got the green screen set up. And I tried to make chat somewhat bigger. I hope we're all well, ladies and gents. Great to see you all. Very excited for another stream on the channel. Again, it's been... Yeah, what am I talking about? I've been streaming for the last 3 weeks on Fantasy Football Scout and over the World Cup. But still, to have the Prem back, I'm really, really excited. And it is great to have you all in chat. Do show face in chat, say hello, and then we'll get into the FPL talk. I do think there's still a lot to cover and a lot of dilemmas. I think generally, Cat in the Hat said he's looking for you, Chai. I think generally, right, a lot of people are quite set on their teams, maybe 2 or 3 decisions to make, but I think there are so many different permutations that you can go with. And if you're on them, I find it hard to tell you to go elsewhere. Like, I can understand if you're going no Bruno. I can understand if you're going no Haaland. I can understand if you're going triple Gabriel defense. A lot of things I don't have, and there will be a lot of things that you have. And I do think, in hindsight now, and again, we'll see how it plays out, but the pricing has been pretty good. Hello Anish, hello George, my boy. Hello Nick, hello ZJ, Anish, Muru. We got where the fan starts. Simi, when was you number 2? I think it was the 23-24 season, don't quote me. Feel like there are a lot of different strategies. Yeah, I do need to fix the timer, George. Good shout, my friend. Before I forget, because I will forget. Let me quickly update that. And in case you are wondering, ladies and gents, there you go. First one in the door. Thank you to my boy Davis, man. Our first member of the stream. And by the way, for anyone who wants to become a member, Davis is first in the door. He's already a member, but starting up the membership again. And great to have you back, Davis, in here with us. You have access to my WhatsApp group. Again, nothing gatekept, but a very tight-knit community. And there's a... See, I put a little message into the group chat. I said, hey guys, be sure to renew your memberships if you're going to do it. We have Chris, Davis, and Anish. First off, massive thank you to Chris, and not only Chris, but all of you. You're choosing to watch me instead of many other YouTubers that you could be watching. And I do greatly appreciate it. And they're still coming through. Anto as well. I need to go to Anish first. 24 months from Anish. I don't even think my channel's been alive for more than 25 months. So Anish, massive shout out, man. I mean, much love. And it goes a long way. Like, again, I do this as a hobby. But you guys really do encourage me and motivate me to carry on making great content. And even though I don't deem it great, I really, really appreciate the support, guys. Chris, another member who has been absolutely playing a massive role, won the Chai Members League last season, and won a United jersey. That will be the giveaway this season as well. Not a United jersey, whatever club you support. If you are a member and you do win my Members League, you will win a jersey of choice. Anto, the last one who's just renewed his membership. Thank you, Anto, my boy. Great to see you back. Unfortunately, Anto got banned or hacked or something, but he is back. And there's one more. George, my moderator and long-time college friend. So I say college, uni friend. We'll get to answering all your questions in chat. Again, thank you, George, my brother. Great to have you back in here. Yeah, hello and welcome back to everyone. I know I'm waffling now, but I mean, you guys are too kind. 5 memberships in about 3 minutes. That has to be a record. For anyone else who's wondering, do become a member and I will send you the WhatsApp link to join the chat. And again, you do not need to send me your money. You do not need to become a member, but it's just a nice way to support the channel. Hello, Shiv, my boy. I hope you're well. Let's get into some juice then. Where to start? Let's start on Twitter, shall we? Let's go to Rob T. Again, no better way to start a Chai stream than looking at Rob T and Solio Analytics graphics. I'm not going to bore you and talk too many stats here, but again, an absolutely amazing visual as usual. There's a member league, says ZJ. Yes, become a member. And you can join the members league and win a jersey. Chris won the jersey last year. Again, lads, hold off on why don't I know about it? Where can I send my number? DM me your number on Twitter. So, before I get answering to your questions and I show you my team, ladies and gents, again, I just want to highlight this because it is kind of important. Here are some season-long projections to what we can expect. I don't think too much stands out about this, but when I look at my own team and I cross-reference it versus this, it's great to see so many of the players that I own come up on this. Now, one of the things that I do know, I was a member, I know ZJ, I know, I just didn't see the thing beside your name, sorry bro. I look at some of the players that I own, and I think if you are looking at this, that's exactly what I do, and I'm sure everyone does that. What strikes me is the likes of a Solace, right? He is projected to get 6.8 goals and 7.5 assists, and they never turn out like this, and I do understand that. But when I look at him versus like Iliman and Giles on penalties, 7 goals in a 38 game season. I mean, it's not that high, and that doesn't mean there's a bad option. And of course, in some of the more favourable fixtures, like Coventry, you would expect that. There you go, my boy ZJ. Welcome back, my friend. And do send me your number. I didn't realise that you weren't in the group chat. We must get you in, or the members league, sorry. And we'll get you sorted, ZJ. Much love, man. And thank you, Faria, for subscribing. And by the way, we hit 10k subs in pre-season. We're on 11,500. What is going on? Since when did FPL Chai have some limbs about him? It's been an absolutely phenomenal start to pre-season. I've really, really enjoyed the pre-season content, and I'm hoping that a lot of you have too. Anyway, getting back to the graphic, right? I think out of the first 20, the only one that really stands out to me is Ismail Assar. I mean, 10 goals and 4.4 assists, not on penalties. I assume this is accounting for. The other one that is actually quite high is not Florian Wirtz, Dominic Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is in around at 9th, and I don't think he's projected to get penalties either. Fahim says, Chai, we're back. We absolutely are. And ZJ, I will get you added after the stream. Do remind me. Footy Kit says, when do you plan to use your bench boost? Again, we'll talk my strategy. I will spend maybe 10-15 minutes mansplaining my team. So stick around. We'll get into the juice in just a second. I just wanted to talk a bit more generally. And we'll also have plenty of time to answer your questions. Again, ladies and gents, we have 2 hours and 10 minutes to kill. We're going to cover absolutely everything. So stick about. And from you guys, let's start with a poll. Because then that way we can, get some answers. Bruno, let's do who is your game week 1 captain? And it's going to be Haaland, Bruno, and Utter. And this will tell me a lot about kind of what chat is thinking. Alright, let's start with that poll. Do get voting on that. And then hold off on the questions, lads, because I promise you, I will answer as many questions as possible. And also, if you haven't already, do make sure you interact with my posts about being live, because then we can have more people in here. And the more people, the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. Still stuck in 25, 26, are we? We are. I need to update that like right now. Hold on, let me get that updated, because that is rookie from me. Anyway, do vote in the poll. I suspect that poll is going to be very, very, very split. And the reason I think that is because every single team I look at seems to be somewhat different. I mean, there is, a lot of the template of the front three of João Pedro, Calvert-Lewin and Haaland, and I think rightfully so. I mean, they're great options, and by the way, I am updating that now, so bear with me. I'm just gonna have to. I have whatever way I'm set up, right? I have an awkward way of looking at my monitor. 2 seconds, guys. I'm just gonna update that. Stream 26, 27. I went back in a year. I somehow went back in a year. Give me 2 seconds. Browse. Maybe this one. I'm now in 25. Sorry guys, this is the trial and error that we needed. This page, custom. Thank you for subscribing, Footy Clips. Again, I'm just gonna try fix this graphic real quick, and then we can continue because I just broke it by accident. And shout out to whoever called that out. 2 seconds, guys. Sorry, I know I'm sloppy. It was all good until I had to fix it. Okay, that should be number 34. 34. Okay, we should be sorted. I do apologize, and thank you for pointing that out. Unacceptable behavior. I was not prepared. Anyway, back to the chat. Again, when I own Isaac, and I have had him since 3 weeks ago. He's 5th on this list. Liverpool have 5 of the best fixtures on paper. I feel most of people's problems are not around Isaac. I think we know how good Isaac can be. 490 minutes in the World Cup. Played pre-season, didn't look great, I'll be honest. But it's the 9 million price tag and people unwilling to drop a Calvert-Lewin. I get it. I do get it. I think Calvert-Lewin's a great price. And is Isaac going to be worth 3 million more? I mean, probably not. For me, where I stand on Isaac, though, is he's going to be a player that I can captain if I want. And yes, Basine, the green screen is in. I would feel comfortable captaining an Isaac. There's very few players I feel comfortable captaining. Haaland, Bruno, Palmer, Semenyo and Isaac. They're the only players I think, unless it's Nico O'Reilly versus a Hull at home, for example, that I feel comfortable captaining. And I think Isaac is severely underrated. And when I look at some of the content creators, a Pras, a Fran, going without Haaland and throwing in who? Isaac. It's very, very reassuring because I really rate them as managers. Anyway, they're the season-long projections. Let's take a look at my team for this week. Let me quickly read it out for anyone who's listening. On goal, still Kinski. A three at the back of Maguire, Van Hecken, Virgil van Dijk. 4 in midfield, Ndiaye, Mbuemo, Szoboszlai and Semenyo. 3 up top, João Pedro, Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland. It's 4 on the bench with Dubravka to cover Kinski in case he gets injured. Gomez as a 5 million option, Issa Diop and Bobby Thomas. Now, where to start? I have 0.5 million in the bank. That's important because this stream I'm going to make a transfer of either Van Heck to Calafiori, Ndiaye to Solis, or Szoboszlai to Wirtz, which I'm gone quite cold on. You would have watched my team selections. I'm going to be ignorant and assume that you've watched some sort of content of me talking about this team, because I've been fairly happy with my team. Let me talk about the biggest talking points for me. Let me start on Iliman Ndiaye. Right, I think he could be the most likely player to leave this team. And it's a shame because I absolutely love Ndiaye as a player. My problems with that are other football teams in the Premier League think the same. They also really like Ndiaye. And that is a problem for me because I cannot afford him. And Yusuf, yeah, we're going to touch on that because that is the biggest talking point, the Arsenal. And I want Arsenal assets. I'm not naive enough to think that, you know, it is a good play to go without any Arsenal. And I'll explain the thought process in just a second. I might just try crop. Can I crop this anymore? The chat so you can see a bit bigger. I hope that's a bit better, ladies and gents. Do I get... No, I'll keep the Avies in. Does that look terrible, chat? Let me know. And I might just crop it like that so you can see kind of a bit better. Because I know people like to have their comments seen. I hope that's a bit better. And do type away in chat. Again, lads, I'm sorry if I can't answer all your questions. I'm going to try pick up some questions as we go. And we'll get a bit more personal in a second on what you're thinking. But for me, look, if Ndiaye was 100% staying at Everton, I would have him. I'm getting cold feet on Ndiaye because of it. I have 0.5 million to get to Solace. And let me quickly bring up one of my favourite FPL websites. Do check him out if you haven't already. It's Joe FPL. Now, the reason I love this, I don't know if it's my brain gets dopamine androgen receptors go off when I look at the colours in this or the brick layout. Absolutely love it, by the way. Best fixture ticker, along with Fancy Football Scouts. By the way, link in the description if you want to support the channel and sign up with Fancy Football Scout. I also like to support my boy Joe because, again, visually, just top tier stuff. When I look at Everton, right, in terms of goal scoring, that is quite abysmal. Now, we do know he's on penalties. We do know he's going to play 90 minutes. We do know he's able to get DEFCON. All good signs for me. Fixtures are not actually the worst when you read them out to me. But when you can have a player like Solace, 2.6 expected goals, the highest of the game week, Friday night football to kick off the Premier League season for the champions, at home, I'm finding it very hard to justify going Iliman and Ndiaye if I think he's linked with a move away. Let me know what you think about that, chat. Let me quickly scan the chat to see if there's anything relevant to do that with that. Why don't you consider Kevin Shade? Now, he's one I really like. I've spoke about Shade. And he was the one, if I had 6 million, I would go with. 100% Shade. And I do think he can score versus Tottenham. I've no doubt about that. As much as I love Tottenham, you have to remember, people think I'm being biased because I have 2 Spurs assets in the team. I've watched Spurs finish 17th place back to back. No one currently hates Spurs more than I do. Now, I am optimistic about the season. Do I think we'll keep a clean sheet versus Brentford? No, I don't. And I'm a fan, so yeah, I am convincing myself, George. That's why you go with Ahmed for the first 2. Get out of here, Toff. Put that Solace pick in now. I know. Cubby says FPL Joe predictions change actually can point to an important player being benched. It's insane. And I agree. It's really interesting to look at. And we will be keeping an eye on that. Let's quickly pull that up, right? If we go to the fixtures and we can see how the projections are changing in real time. Now, if we look at Arsenal in the last hour, their projections have actually, on a tad bit, decreased. When I say decreased, it is literally like 0.04. But still interesting to know. Let's go back to my team then. That's the one thing I would love to do. Iliman and Ndiaye to a Solace. I think it's exciting. Spacine has Shade. Let's talk about a bit of the wider picture then, the strategy. Right, and I've seen a tweet from Andy Martin, and I have to bring it up because I slightly agreed. And I just think it's interesting to know. By the way, absolute GOAT Andy Martin. The early bench boost propaganda is created by content creators so they have an inflated rank early on and can attract more views to their channel. Now, I'm not going to say this is right. Like, I don't think people are being malicious by doing it. But I definitely think it's a good strategy and it's something that's actually annoying me that I'm not doing. Of course I want a good rank in the first few weeks. But I currently am on the long run. I am on the long run and I plan on bench boosting later down the line. Now, in previous seasons, I've never seen people want to wildcard so early. And I see people talking about the fixture swing. But it's the likes of a Chelsea who are the biggest swing. Liverpool already have good fixtures. Unless I'm missing something. Newcastle, Forest at home and Ipswich. In every single world I've ever been in on this planet have been good fixtures. Sure, you mightn't want Triple United, but I'm more than happy to move them on. And City, again, I refer back to FPL Joe's website and go to the overview. Look at those first 5 games. They are projected to score the highest. Anish is asking me, who is the Spurs penalty taker? The Spurs penalty taker is currently Richarlison. I find it hard to believe, and I don't personally understand it, why people are not starting with more City. Again, I think if you're not going with Haaland, I understand, but why you don't have a Nico O'Reilly or Foden or Semenyo? And by the way, just on Foden, someone who I spoke about a lot in pre-season, who's no longer in the team. Look, I think Foden is actually not a bad asset, and he's going to get a lot of hate, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right word, but he's not the guy getting returns or many assists in pre-season. And I mean, form is one thing that we do have to account for in pre-season, but with Doku being out and him being able to play in the 10 or the left wing, City are going to score goals, ladies and gents. Aboud says this is his first time tuning in. Welcome, Aboud. I hope you're well, my friend. T-Man says, Bench Boost 1 worked really well for me last season. I'm using the wildcard, then transfers later on for a 1 week bench boost seems pointless. That is fair enough, T-Man. Here's my concern, right, with the bench boost 1. And I've spoke about this in some of my contents, and in some of my videos. And yes, I do live stream before every single game week. One of the biggest issues for me with the bench boost is the amount of people going with the Brighton assets. Now, I don't have any beef with the Brighton assets. I'm going to pull up FootMob and let me quickly bring up the Brighton game. I was surprised with the amount of firepower that Fabian Herzl went with in this game versus Tromso. Oops. Like, that is a full team, man. Bar Dunk. Full team. And you want a bench boost with 3 Brighton, or maybe 2 Brighton assets, or 1 in the starting 11. A Vuskovic, for example. A Gomez, who did get subbed at 68 minutes. A Pascal Gross. A De Kruiper, who you will expect to start, in my opinion, Velshko. Again, I just don't love it. Another thing with the bench boost 1 is that, like I said, with my own team, this transfer window does not close until September 1st. How many days is that away? We have 10 full days until the transfer window closes. Iliman Ndiaye is still linked with a Premier League move away. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I know there's a small link to Forest, I believe it was. I think we could see some moves in the window, ladies and gents. And again, it works both ways. Not only that, but I'm confident that we are going to see some sort of activity. For example, a Konsa at 4.5 million. If an opportunity arises in the future where we see a setback on Jurrien Timber, which we've already seen in the summer since Champions League, we see Mosquera pick up an injury, who has had his own concerns, and if Konsa at 4.5 million becomes a nailed option, I'm just saying, this is an example and the type of things that I look at when I talk about opportunities down the line. But suddenly you have a 4.5 million Arsenal defender. Maybe when the fixture swings for Spurs when they play against Coventry. Again, what the week I look at is wildcard 6, bench boost 7. Spurs play against Coventry at home. Fulham play against Hull away. City play against Ipswich away. I think it's away. And also if opportunities arise, like a Konsa, for example, like who I highlight, or let's just say a Marmouche who is suddenly nailed and has Coventry at home for Spurs, and he might be on penalties. And I think he will be on penalties if he does join. It's opportunity. And I just think it's too much of an unknown in game week 1. Let's talk about bench boost 2. Again, by the way, anyone who's on bench boost 1, bench boost 2, I have no problems with. And I can understand why you want to get out of the way, to be completely honest. Bench boost 2. Look, for me, not doing bench boost 2, the only reason is because I don't fancy having a 5.5 million striker on the bench and a 4.5 million goalkeeper, similar to Bench Boost 1. The second thing is I don't want to pencil in an early wildcard. And the third thing is I don't know much about Ipswich. I can sit here as much as I want as a content creator who talks about fancy football content, and I do know what's going on or the type of players that, we are expecting to do well. One thing that I'm not, though, is a Hull Ipswich fan, either of those, or a Coventry. So I can't sit here and be in complete confidence that Hull are going to get bashed by Coventry. That's just kind of where I stand on it. Again, I don't mind it though. Hey Chai, mate, love the content. Been subscribed since last year. What are your thoughts on my team? Here it is. I think it's a great team overall, and I touched off Bruno and Shade already, and we'll talk about Bruno more in a second. AR probably is the best 4.5 million defender. Again, I would go with ER, but I wouldn't be comfortable starting him every single week. I think if I am bench boosting, I have ER. Chris, on Wale Egley, I'm not confident on a Wale Egley start, personally. I believe I did see Taiwo Awani did join. Ian says, as a Celtic fan, can see Dyson Maeda go well for Ipswich. Yeah, and this is what I mean. Maybe he does become an option later down the line. And I'm happy to wait for that. Okay, let's talk about the Arsenal. I'm just going to call him the Arsenal. And that includes any Arsenal asset at all. Right, you'll see I currently have no Arsenal assets. And I know it's a problem. And the glaring thing for many people will be that Virgil van Dijk is in place. And I could save $1 million by going to a Calafiori. By going to a Ben White, by going to a Mosquera. And I can completely understand that if you have a short-term view. And Fairs is asking, why don't you have any Arsenal assets? It's exactly what we're on right now, Fairs. The reason I don't is because I'm looking more long-term. You cannot tell me with certainty that come game week 3, and I can see it playing out, lads, unless we see an injury. Suddenly, Calafiori is being early subbed. Actually, not even suddenly. I would expect him to get a 60-odd minute sub in this game versus Coventry. And it is more than enough for him to do damage in that game. That's why I still think he's a good option. But I do think, winning the first 4 games, with Champions League coming around in game week 3, I believe it is, between game week 3 and 4, we are likely to see any of those Arsenal back 4 miss one game. Maybe bar Gomez and bar Raya. I look at the rest of the defenders in my team. Maguire. For me, fully fit, Maguire is not part of that best United team. And I know Carrick does like Maguire, being English and being able to be a captain. And Maguire's looked good last season, man. But it is probably and likely going to be Martinez and De Ligt. And also, come game week 4, United are in the Champions League this season. So we're not looking at them long term. They also play City. So if Van Heck or Virgil were one of Calafiori, Mosquera or White, for me that is a headache later down the line. And look, if you're going there, I completely understand that. If you're a triple Arsenal, you're likely on a wildcard 3. Because you also probably likely have no Haaland, who plays against Coventry. This team is unbelievably set up for the next 5 or 6 game weeks until wildcard 6. My route to Cole Palmer in game week 4 is Virgil down to Malik Chow and Semenyo up to Palmer, and that would leave me 5.5 million to get rid of Maguire, to do anyone I fancy. Another option for me on why I've gone with Virgil ahead of a Calafiori is because I know I'm going to get to game week 3 and suddenly Nico Riley has got a goal, got an assist here and there, getting good minutes for Enzo Maresca, or suddenly Enzo Maresca's team are winning 3 and 4-0. I can do Virgil to O'Reilly in one move. Let's just say, in theory, Liverpool start the season slowly, like many people are expecting them to do, which I am not of the opinion of. I can appreciate if you don't like the Liverpool assets. I don't mind that at all. For me, though, it's opportunity and risk I'm willing to take. First 5 fixtures are just too good for me. Porro, by the way, has been quoted that he will not be starting game week 1 from Alistair Gold. Another defender who will not be starting for Spurs is Mickey van de Ven, who's been the confirmed captain. Just on Spurs, I think Van Heck is going to be absolutely nailed. Again, I speak about it quite often. The only defender who is competition for Van Heck is Kevin Danso on that right hand side. And it's quite funny. We spoke about in pre-season quite a lot about how Senesi is an absolute must avoid for Spurs in game week 1. I still think he is, by the way. But it's kind of ironic that he's going to be likely starting this game week 1 game versus Brentford. And he probably will hit 20 DEFCON in that game. Am I changing my squad between now and the deadline? Yes. There will be one move. What do we do if Gabriel gets a 15 pointer, says Brighton FPL? I will not be entirely surprised. I mean, the only reason people are not going with Gabriel is, of course, the price point. No one doubts his capability of getting a 15 pointer. And AC, you're right. I'm not 100%. Actually, I will tell you right now that Spurs will probably concede in game week 1. I just think he's slightly underrated for 5.5 million. I also think Moura Hemrovic is going to concede in game week 1. I also think a lot of the 5 millions, and they're priced at 5 million for good reason, are going to concede. You're not getting the 5 millions for a surety of clean sheets, and anyone outside of maybe City and Arsenal, you'd be quite comfortable and backing against them to concede. I don't get why you have Szoboszlai if you don't like him that much. You can downgrade him and get Gabriel in for Virgil van Dijk. VVD, Virgil van Dijk. And that is something we're going to take a look at in just a second, Dominic. And unfortunately, I have tinkered around with that. There is one set of moves that I can make that would break this team, and a lot of people would like a lot more. So like I said, the one move I could make could be Ndiaye up. Again, I don't love Szoboszlai, but again, the thought process on Szoboszlai, he was originally Florian Wirtz, but here's what it is. And for anyone who watched Athletic, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I've looked at how Iraola's team is going to set up. Kind of what we've seen from Bournemouth. It is a high pressing game he's going to expect from Liverpool. And one of the players in that team who's part of that press, and I thought it was a great quote, is like a Duracell bunny, is Dominic Szoboszlai. And he finds his way up very high up on the pitch in that press. Now, if the ball is won back during a press, he's automatically that much higher than what I have in my mind when I look at Szoboszlai as an FPL option. And as an FPL option, we look at him as a 6, an 8 or a right back who's going to be quite deep for Liverpool. And yes, when they get beat in the press, he probably will be quite far back, or when they have the ball. But there are going to be times where he finds himself high up on the pitch. And again, he is on the free kicks. He is going to make 90 minutes most weeks than not. And Florian Wirtz won't make 90 minutes. I can tell you that right now for a certain. Not only that, he's going to be on penalties when Isak is not on the pitch. Now, on Isak, I think he's going to make 80 minutes week to week. I actually think 70 minutes is a bit low until we get to Champions League. I would be surprised if he got subbed at 70 minutes, I'll be completely honest. Tonali get any set pieces? I don't think Tonali will be on any set pieces. I think Matthias Tell will be up until the point we sign Savinho. Until we sign Marmouche. So that's where I currently stand on the Liverpool assets. Let's look at that Gabriel move that was mentioned, because it's the one thing that has changed the structure of my team that I do go back to. It does mean moving Virgil van Dijk up to Gabriel, right? And that means I have 1 million in the bank to work with to try find and do to get Gabriel. The move I've been looking at is Gomez to a 4.5. Again, the one for me, and for anyone who's looking for a 4.5, the popular one is Slater, and for good reason. 3-year contract. He just signed. Played, I think, 45 games for Hull last season. Don't quote me on that. In and around that. And is only 4.5 million. Look, you're not asking for much from a 4.5 and it's DEFCON. The other one I like is George Hemmings. From what I understand, and again, let me quickly bring up FPL Villains, who is the one for me I trust when I look at Villa lineups and predictions. FPL Villain. This is his lineup for Brighton away. Garnacho up top. 45% chance. But on the left, Hemmings to start. He's capable of getting DEFCON. He's only 4.5 million. He could break into this Villa team. I know nothing about him. I'll be completely honest. But again, from a team strength perspective, because Villa are always going to be somewhat functional in attack, even with a lot of players leaving and no Ollie Watkins and etc. etc. List goes on. Weak in defence. You still fancy a Hemmings over a Slater, in my opinion. I feel like he's more of a risk to take on. And I would be willing to do it. So, Hemmings would go in, and that would leave me with 0.5 million to make up to get Gabriel in this team. Where does the 0.5 million come from? It comes from Szoboszlai to Solace, if I'm being completely honest. Or Van Heck to a Yar. Those are the two options. And I feel like people probably look at that as a no-brainer. Leave a like if you're enjoying the stream. Absolutely, lads. I'm going to remind you as frequently as I can to hit the like button. 58% of you currently on Erling Haaland. 34% of you currently on Bruno captaincy. I think it is really split. And I do think for good reason. It would be Van Heck to a Yar for me. Or Oyar, sorry for the pronunciation. And that fits in Gabriel. It means going a bit thinner at the back, but still keeping the firepower up front. Good shouts in chat, actually. And that's another one I quite like. And we can talk about that. Maguire to Shaw. Now, anyone who would have watched my my pre-season content, you would know that I actually didn't mind having Shaw instead of Maguire. Again, I just feel like you know kind of what you're doing there by doing that. Chewy says, you can do Skillyman and Zoi down to a 5.5 or a Gomez. Again, my issue with that is I'm not too hot on Pascal Gross. I'll be honest. I don't mind if you are doing Pascal Gross, by the way. Just don't fancy him to be as nailed as people are thinking with them being in the Conference League. Again, that is scaremongerling, but I don't mind that. I do fancy the Luke Shaw shout. The reason I like that is because I think long term, again, someone who's played 38 games out of 38 games last year, Luke Shaw, Maguire is going to want to be out of my team come game week 4. And Van Heck is still well rated by me and underrated by a lot. Finley says United are looking to get a left back. I am. I do quite. Sorry, I can't speak. I know that. But I do expect him to get to 2 good fixtures that I want him for. And I do imagine, unless it's in the next 3 days, that I think Shaw will be good for the next 2. And just on Gross, and shouts for Sangari, which is also great, by the way. Let's just say in theory, because I do love that defence, by the way, having a Maguire, because I do think the upside is there, and I can see it. I also quite like Sangari, right? My issue with Sangari is actually the fact that I do think there's a chance he is early sub. Sorry, wrong Sangari straight away. And by the way, if you are looking at Sangari, make sure you have the right one in. Just on this Sangari, he's actually not too bad for DEFCON, by the way. I believe he's averaging 11.7 for starts. So if you do accidentally bring him in for 0.5 less, it might actually be the worst. Anyway, This Sengari is the one we're talking about. Thank you, ISO Magic, my man. Welcome back to A Cup of Chai, my friend. Thank you for supporting the channel. ISO Magic, you are in the group chat, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And for anyone who is looking to become a Cup of Chai member, it is a great way for you to support the channel. You do not, and I'm not selling or making you do anything. It's just a nice way to support me and be part of a nice tight-knit community. How nailed do I think Hemmings is? Again, he's not nailed at all, but do I think he might start his first game? Yes. And would he be the 4.5 other than Slater I'd be willing to take a risk on? Yes. Why Van Heck instead of Vuskovic? Vuskovic played 90 minutes in yesterday's game versus... how do I pronounce the name? Tromso, sorry. He played 90 minutes. Lewis Dunk was rested. I think it will be Dunk and Pascal Struijk have a good chance of starting that game. So that's why I would rather start the season with Van Heck, who I know is going to play. It's Harry, lol. Sorry, I'm in the group. Sorry, ISO Magic. I got the name mixed up. Welcome back, Harry, my boy. I do know you said that you're going to renew. Much love, man. Appreciate you. It's hard with the YouTube name, guys, because they don't match. But thank you, ISO Magic, my boy. Much love, Harry. Means a lot, man. Seriously. Again, the support in pre-season has been absolutely amazing. This is my chance to plug the Instagram if you aren't already following. I posted 10 shorts in pre-season. 10 shorts I posted. And the account has absolutely blew up. And now, I don't know why, because I think the quality of my shorts are not great. But I did put in work to try edit them to be somewhat engageable. And if you aren't already followed, do follow FPLchai on Twitter. Or on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok. We're on all the platforms now. To be honest, I can't promise you I'm going to be consistent on Instagram. But I do appreciate you guys that you are loving the short form content. A question from Abdul. He says, what's the league code? The league code is Yakno. Can I pin that in chat? Maybe I can do something like this. Start viewer. League code Yakno. Do join the league code, by the way. I just put it in chat there, guys. Sorry, did I just start a Q&A? I didn't mean to do that. Oh no. What have I done? I broke chat. I'm gonna end the Q&A. Sorry. Oh no. Okay, we're back. The league code is Yakno, guys. I'm gonna spam it in chat for anyone who is yet to join. Please join. Let's try to get as many people in here as we can, because again, just another phenomenal way to support the channel. Anyway, that's enough of me plugging. Sengari is an option. I like it because I think over a spell of games he's going to do really well. My problem with it is, again, I don't think Sengari is absolutely nailed to start the season. I think as we get into the season, sure, he will be. Yak no is the noise you make when Ahmed hauls. He's back, says Smith. Good to have you back, Smith. Anyway, that is the way I could get Gabriel. And again, I love it because long term it is absolutely amazing. My issue is I just don't love Sengari. Just don't love it. And I also love the idea with starting with a Solace. Would I rather start the season with Gabriel and Sengari and a bit of depth in Gomez in case he becomes a great option? It's really tough, lads. Anyway, let me go back to the current team. Exactly, no bench safety is the issue. Random randomness. Where in comparison this has it. Solace is the guy. I think I'm sold on Solace, lads. I think he's going to be first choice to start first too. Is this the final team? No. It's not the final team. There will be one change. And by the way, do subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to the channel. Anish, on Matisse Tell, I'm really high on Matisse Tell for Game Week 1. Game Week 1 and 2 only, until Marmouche and Savinho settle in. Look, I just think he's going to be on corners, on direct free kicks, going to get 80 plus minutes because there's no one else on that left wing. It's tough. Thoughts on Kieran Dewsbury Hall and Antoine Stack? Underrated options. I think, like, if there was no William and Ndiaye, Kieran Dewsbury Hall we talked about a lot more. Again, it's just the 0.5 million more that people would be put off with Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Foden or fplchai? I think if you don't have City already, I think you can risk Foden. Again, that's not me trying to tell you to get him. But Ndiaye, for bench boost, Anish, it's not bad. What are your thoughts on Cliver? I don't mind it, but I don't like starting the season with him, to be honest. What are my current chip plans? Wildcard 6, triple captain in game week 3 or 4 if I bring in Cole Palmer. Bench boost game week 7. Thoughts on Dorgo and Rashford is why I've not got Mateus Cunha. I would love Cunha, to be honest. Thanks a lot for a good stream. Do you think Odegaard plus Van Heck is okay for game week 1 bench boost? Absolutely. I think Odegaard is a decent pick. I think Stack has really gone underneath the radar. I agree, Yusuf. I agree. Especially with people being so high on Leeds. How about Reece James and his alternatives? I don't love Reece James. I'd rather spend the money on a Plestra. Thoughts on Shadi? Amazing. Strong rumours of Ndiaye leaving Everton. And that's exactly why I think I'm very comfortable to do him to a Solace. I think that is going to be the move that is going to happen, lads. Again, Gomez is great because in game week 4, by the way, or game week 3 when Pedro plays against Arsenal, he has Leeds at home, Coventry away, which I quite like. I like Brighton from an attacking front. When I look at some of Brighton's projections for that Leeds at home game, let me just quickly bring it up, by the way. When I look at Brighton, sorry, where is it? View all projections. Brighton versus Leeds, 1.69, which is great, and 1.82 versus Coventry. I mean, that's very, very high. And it also lets me dodge game week 1, where I think we'll see rotation. I think we'll see a Brighton team that just played on AstroTurf, I believe, as well, by the way. I played on AstroTurf the other day, and my legs are bet. Now, I'm not a professional athlete, and nor am I that good at football. But still, it has fatigue on the body, and they had to travel away from home. So yeah, that's my piece on Gomez. I think he's a great pick. I just wouldn't be comfortable starting him every week. Do I have a league code? There it is, my friend. Yakno. Is it stupid to go without João Pedro until game week 4? Look, I'll say this about anyone in the entire game. It's not stupid to go with anyone in the game. The reason I think that is because it doesn't matter about who you're taking out. It's more important about who you're replacing them with. Thank you, Cliff, for subscribing to the channel. Mandel says, fellow Spurs fan here, what do you reckon our latest signings today? Honestly, really looking forward to the season now. Feels like we have plenty to be excited about. Come on, you Spurs. And I hold the same opinion. I think that's why I'm excited for the season. I've not seen Spurs move so much in the transfer window. Never mind for such reputable Premier League players for so much money. It's really, really exciting. And I want to be part of it. And when I say that, like, I think why Spurs could be a better defence this season will be because we'll have so much more of the ball. Sorry, I can't speak. When you have the likes of a Savinho, a Kudus, an Omar Marmoush, who is not an out-and-out striker, you automatically have more of the ball. Along with Senesi, Kinski, Van Heck, ball-playing centre halves. I think Spurs are just going to be a different prospect this season. Now, Van Heck, Senesi, Van de Ven, not the greatest of actual out-and-out defenders, I'll say. But in terms of building the team, I think it looks great. Why did you switch Verts to Szoboszlai? I switched those two because I wanted the 0.5 million to potentially do in DI to Solace. Thank you to Fitness Guy for subscribing to the channel. Much love. Any news on Palestra? Again, I just think there's a chance he's going to be rotated at some point. So I prefer not to start the season with him. I'm actually confident enough on the Solace move. I've got to go and eat. I'll be back before the deadline. Good luck, Chris. And I hope you're getting fairly locked. Lots of FPL managers are overlooking Odegaard. He is going to tear the league apart this season. And he does have a 200 point season in him, I've no doubt. My issue with Odegaard is, again, another player that I can see being somewhat rotated with the likes of Ineze right there. Again, he is part of this best Arsenal team. I just wonder, when the likes of Champions League comes back around, are we going to see some sort of rotation? I think so. As a Spurs fan, what do you think of Richarlison as a punt? I don't mind it, but I don't absolutely love it. The reason I don't love it is because I don't think he's going to see more than 70 minutes. I would be surprised. Cody or Morgan Rogers, and why? Morgan Rogers because he's going to be more nailed than Gakpo. How long will Gomez be first choice? I think Gomez is going to be a season-long choice. Sorry, guys. And the reason I say that is because they've had so many injuries, and unless they sign someone for the right wing spot, Gomez can also play in a lot of different positions. Moore, Hemorvidge and Singari, or Roden and Shade. Look, again, season-long Moore, Hemorvidge and Singari are the pick, but if you're wildcarding early, Roden and Shade are definitely the ones. Why no Sunderland assets? They don't look good long-term to me. Also, not the highest on Sunderland. Like, when I look at some of their projections, they are second bottom on the ticker. Even some of their good games that people are deeming good. 1.32 expected goals, 1.28 and 1.03. I know he's going to be on penalties. It just doesn't fill me with confidence. Thank you, Parabesh, for subscribing, man. Again, a safe thing to do is just go with Arsenal defender. But I'm worried about Iliman and Ndiaye. I think at this current point in time, I'd be willing to say that Shade is as good as Ndiaye. Will you remember us, says Jono, when you win FPL? I will, don't worry. Can you imagine being a content creator and actually winning FPL? It's never been done before. When I say being a content creator and winning, I mean like someone who's done it before, as in years of content. Can you imagine going on here every single week? Hey guys, I'm number one in the world. Hey guys, I'm number one in the world. And then every single week you're just smashing it. Who knows? Maybe that'll be my year. Maybe it'll be one of you guys in chat's year. Let's hope. Which two midfielders do you think are best for 14 million? Again, assuming you have to play two of them every single week. 14 million, 8.5, 1.5. Maybe Semenyo and Gross? I don't know if my maths is adding up there, by the way. I think it is. Favourite 5 million defender long term? Well, I don't think Maguire is good long term, Lil Gin. And please don't spam chat. I'm going to try answer as many as possible. Again, long term, when I look past game week 6, good fixtures start to point towards Spurs. That's why I've got Van Heck. Moore Hemorvidge is the other one, though. George, are you playing, my friend? He says, might be my year to win. I don't know if you're rage baiting me there. Do you rate Robbie or DCL? Look, at 6 million, DCL is the guy. I can understand why everyone and their dog is going there. Robbie, I really do like. Minutes are a problem with Robbie. Is Isaac worth it? Look, I look at what I have to compromise if I want Isaac. It's really Isaac and Semenyo versus Bruno Fernandes. And I'm happy with the pair. Really happy with the pair. The other thing I can do, by the way, when I look at this team is Virgil de Calafiori, open up 1 million. That would leave me with 1.5 million in the bank. 1.5 million in the bank I can do in DI to Foden. And no one is going triple City. But why I like that is because Coventry at home in game week 3. where they're expected 2.84 expected goals. Over 2 in the first two as well. I mean, it looks great. How much will Barcola cost, do you reckon, Chai, if he signs? I think he could be 8 million, you know. I think he will be priced at 8 million. Maybe 7.5, same as Wirtz. Because he's not going to be on set pieces, etc, etc. I'm just going to do a little scroll on the timeline to see what's going on. And again, guys, do hit the like button, share the stream to some of your friends. I'm going to try answer as many questions as possible. I'm really enjoying being back. It's nice to be back on my own channel. I feel like it's been a while since we've done a stream. The last stream on my own channel was last season. 2 Arsenal defenders with White or Reece James. 2 Arsenal defenders with White. Thoughts about going Gabriel, Calafiori and Solis long term. I think Solis and Calafiori are going to naturally cause you issues long term, but I think they're great to start the season with if you're looking a bit more short term. Again, guys, one of the big reasons why I'm just not sure on if I want to go with Calafiori with rotation or double Arsenal. Villa away. And again, I just look at Unai Emery's record. Villa versus Arsenal. Let's just go Villa maybe first and then go head to head. If we go to all matches, Arsenal head to head. Unai Emery is a manager who versus his old club is not the worst. Beat Arsenal in 2025, drew in January 2025. Beat him, I remember this game, in April. Beat him in 2023. And I know Villa's team is not there. I know that. I know it. But it's just in my mind at Villa Park, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see Villa score. And then to play against Chelsea. And I look at the clean sheet probabilities. 40% again. I can see him conceding versus Chelsea. All it takes is a Cole Palmer to play somewhat functionally. Again, we see him do an absolute shutout on City, who are the second best attack in the league, but it's hard. It is hard. And thank you, Finley. Maybe at the end of the stream we might get to some of your teams. But this is truly gutted for Villa. Yeah, their team is absolutely crushed. I've no doubt about that. But it's just part of my thought process. Like, those are not easy games for Arsenal either way. O'Reilly and Gomez, or Solis and 5 million defender. If you can bench one of O'Reilly and Gomez every single week, or bench Solis and a 5 million defender every week, I would go O'Reilly and Gomez. But if you have to start him every week, I would go Solis and a 5. Ballard versus Williams versus Moore or Hemorovic for bench boost 1. I'm going to say Ballard. He's another really good 5 million option. Similar to Van Heck for me. And I can understand if you're going with a Ballard instead of a Kinski. Again, the reason I don't go to Ballard is because I believe the clean sheet probabilities are well worse than Spurs long term. And I'm right in saying that. I mean, they're much worse over the next 5. First 2 though are equal pretty much. I currently have money left over. Yes, 0.5 million, and I'm going to use it. Villa don't have a team. All our signings are injured. Lalugari and Zion. No mins as of yet. I know the villainous villain. I know. But it's just Emery for me, man. For me, one of the best managers in the league. And I know Ollie Watkins is not there, but I'm not even that high on Ollie Watkins. I just think he just has made great teams. Again, you won't agree with that, I know. I do apologise the ignorance. What's the reason for Isaac over Thiago? Again, it's just goal scoring. Goals for teams, right? Liverpool are projected to score 10 goals in the first 5, and I'm looking long term. Brentford are down at 7.5. Now, you can argue that Thiago probably has more goal share and is 100% on penalties. But I think the minutes are better than what's being talked about by, I guess, quote-unquote content creators to start the season. You sound like Sharp. I know, Davis. I know. I'm sorry. Emery is top 3 managers in the league, says George. Let's do that in chat. Who are your top 3 managers in the league in order? I think that's a great question. Let me know in chat and then I'll answer who I think. Where are you thinking of using the money on Iliman Ndiaye to Solace? Davis, by the way, it would be interesting to see as an Arsenal fan where you stand on your Arsenal assets. Hello, Christian. Hope you're okay, my friend. Good to see you. Chess Quickie as well. Isaac is either going to be an absolute game breaker or twist an ankle in the 24th minute. I couldn't have said it better myself. Christian, right now, no Arsenal defence. Again, I have 0.5 million in the bank if I want to go Van Heck to Calafiori. Mist says Arteta, Emery, Iraola. Random Randomness says Unai, Arteta, De Zerbi. Finlay says Arteta, Iraola, Carrick. I'm surprised with the amount of Arteta prop. Like, I personally don't have Arteta as the best in the league. Thank you, Ahmed, for subscribing. George has Arteta, Emery, Iraola, Alonso, Arteta, Iraola, Carrick. Go get out of here with the Carrick shouts, man. Stop it. I'm not having it. Sean says, Welch, I hope you're well. Best of luck for the season. Do you think gross minutes will be fine? For what it's worth, I think he'll start game week 1, yes. Long term, I'm unsure how I see his minutes. Anish says, bye-bye Ndiaye, welcome tell. Anish, man, you did not hear that from me. You didn't hear it from me. I've been enjoying your preseason content, says Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. Much love. Means a lot. Yusuf says, Arteta, Unai, De Zerbi. I'm tempted to go Odegaard over Solace personally to go against effective ownership. So close between them. Think there's a chance Odegaard gets slightly better mins. Yeah, and I think when you consider the fact that, you know, of course, Eze can play on the left to be subbed on for a Solace. I can understand your point. No, Yusuf, I have Arteta top 3. He's just not number 1. And I also respect Arsenal. They just won the league and they've been the best defence in the league we've seen, or the best defence we've seen in a while. Emery, Iraola, Glasner, says Liam. Carrick won the most points of any manager since he came in. He's top 3 Prem managers. And that's the exact problem. I don't look at it over a 15 week spell. Some of these managers have managed for 5 to 10 seasons consistently in the Prem. You know, for worser teams, I think you have to consider that. Not because of half a season they've done. Yeah, Keith Andrews. Do you think Odegaard will start this game and the next? Yes. What do I think about Luke Shaw? Luke Shaw is a pretty good option. Prefer Maguire, me personally. Emery, Xavi, Alonso, Iraola. Forget Xavi. Look, I actually think Emery might be the best manager in the league. Again, people will hate that, especially Arsenal fans, given he's an ex-Arsenal manager. I've always been a massive fan of Emery. I think with the resources he's been given, he's done a phenomenal job. Then I'll say Arteta. And then I would say, and I'm going to be honest with this, lads, De Zerbi. That won't be a popular one, but when we signed De Zerbi, it was the only reason why I didn't think we were going to get relegated. When I hear people talk about De Zerbi as well, it's fascinating. Emery is class, but whenever he gets the top job, he does crumble a bit. I don't know Brighton FPL. Look, I know there has been proof in the pudding about it, but at the same time, you know, the Europa Leagues underneath the belt. Maybe the PSG spell wasn't the greatest, but Chai in the house, says Wrenches. Welcome, Wrenches, my friend. What are your thoughts on Hume? Let's pull up Hume. Look, I think Hume is a good option if you're bench boosting. I would not start him every single week, but I do like him. He's definitely a decent option. 3 good fixtures. If you're on wildcard 4, I'd be all over him on a bench boost, 100%. Do you think no Haaland is valid when you plan to free hit wildcard in game week 3? Yes. I quite like the strategies that Fran and Prass are on. Let's do a little scroll on the timeline again, ladies and gents. Again, do not want to be missing anything at all. Predicted Brighton lineup, by the way, for anyone who's wondering. Vuskovic down at 50%, but still in the starting lineup. And Bozagli starting again. De Kruijper is also in. Hinchelwood back in the team. When are you showing my final team? Well, to be honest, I'm kind of thinking on the fly. I don't know my final team yet. Chai, love the content, mate. Who do you prefer out of Odegaard and Solis, all things considered? I just think Solis is like the shiny new toy. That's why I find it hard to go Odegaard. But Odegaard, man, I can completely understand it. One Odegaard return and suddenly he's going to be in bonus. What are your thoughts on the Kruijper for bench boost? I like it, but I just think I would be probably going for someone who you 100% know is going to start. Like, I'm expecting the Kruijper to start, but again, Villa at home, don't love it. How confident are you on NDI? Not very anymore, to be honest. I've gotten cold feet on him in the last day. Is he really involved? Bar penalties, he is involved, just not as much as you probably want him to. I just think when you go with an NDI, look, if you told me 100%, the only reason I don't want to go with him, or I'm getting cold on him, is because I do think he's still linked with a move away. Now, that could mean... Oh, would you look at that? Anto in the house again. Gifted 1 membership. And Brighton FPL has won it. Great to see someone who's been really interacting with chat has won it. Congratulations, Brighton. Send me your number on Twitter if you are looking to be involved in the members chat. Again, this is my first time Brighton FPL that I've seen you involved in chat quite a lot. So congratulations and thank you, massive thank you to Anto for supporting the channel. And again, like I said, thank you Charles for subscribing. If you are looking to become a member, do click the join button. Again, just another way to support the channel and join a tight-knit community, including the WhatsApp. You always have your questions answered more, by the way, if you are a member. Would you have Vuskovic, Van Heck, or Ayer for bench boost 1? I think Ayer would be on my bench boost 1, to be honest, because I wouldn't want to hold the funds going into game week 2 or 3. Thoughts on Cunha? Skeptical on his minutes for the first 2, Liam. Any United predicted lineup I've seen, I say any. I've seen 2 predicted United lineups with Dorgu left wing. I don't tend to talk much, just listen. If it's the first week, so excitement is high. No worries at all, Brighton, man. Great to have you in. It's always good to have consistent people interacting in chat. Chess Quickie says Daizan Maeda for 5.5. Why not? Thoughts on you? Again, great option, like I said. I need a 4.5 defender for bench boost 1. Is the Kruijper worth the risk, as I already have Verbergen? I think in that case, I would go with IR. Ndiaye or Lafi? I prefer Ndiaye. Again, I think Ndiaye could leave the team sooner rather than later on this stream. But I think I still prefer Ndiaye in that case. By the way, if you aren't already subscribed, lads, hit the subscribe button. We're on the way to 12k. And I don't know how, to be honest. It's been an absolutely amazing pre-season in terms of subscribers. I mean, it's absolutely skyrocketed up. And it's great to see that you guys are enjoying the content. Soliston Shaw or Ndiaye Maguire? That is tough, man. When are you wildcarding? I think either way... Soliston Shaw is chasing upside. More upside. Thoughts on Richarlison? Again, I prefer Mateus Tell if you're looking for a Spurs punt. He has looked electric for Spurs. You're one of the best channels, says Morbidly Obese Cat. Thank you, and very interesting name, Morbidly Obese Cat. Best luck for the season. 6-7, says James. Is Hume nailed? I think he will be to start the season. He played 32 games last year, I think it was. If you had the extra money, would you upgrade Sob to Verts? I do have the extra money. And I'm looking at keeping Sob, to be honest. Back is getting sore, ladies and gents. What's going on? We are already only an hour and 7 minutes till the deadline. It's been a very fast hour and 20. Would you consider captaining Gabriel over Bruno? I think it's definitely a really safe pick, Eddie. Would I do it if I had Bruno? No. If I had Bruno and Haaland right now, I think it would be very close on captaincy. Konsa worth it by saving on an Arsenal defence. Look, I personally don't love starting with Konsa. Milenkovic is a massive differential. Haven't seen anyone with him. Trusting Glasner to turn him into a DEFCON monster, says Brighton. Yeah, I like that. I would agree. I think I do prefer a Nico Williams in that situation. But yeah, definitely a good option. Ballard, Senesi, Hume or Murahemovic. I'm going to say Ballard. Look, all your questions, ladies and gents, context is key. If you're targeting a wildcard 4, it's going to be an Arsenal defender 10 times out of 10. If you're targeting any longer than wildcard 4, I'm going to say a Virgil, and it's why I love a Virgil. Why no Bruno? Let's talk about Bruno. For anyone who is familiar to the channel, I am one of those content creators who's been one of the absolute highest on Bruno for the last 3 seasons. I love Bruno as an option. I think he's great as a player. This year, he's been priced right at 12 million. And if you're starting the season with him, I can completely understand it with Hull and Ipswich. I can't argue that at all. My problem with Bruno to start the season is I think I prefer the upside of going with Isaac and Semenyo, who are better for the first 5 or 6 games. Hello Omar, I hope you're well, my friend. True story, you said. I can't remember what I said. Someone had an interesting question in there. Hallett says, hey, love the channel. Can you rate my team? I'm going to briefly run through it in my head. Kinski Shaw, Semenyo, Fernandez, Solis, Van Ewijk, Thomas, Slater. I don't love that bench boost. I'll be completely honest. Therefore, it's a 7.5, but I still think it's a strong team. 300 of you in here. Let's try to get the like goal to 300. And I hope you're enjoying the content, ladies and gents. What about Palmer? I think Palmer is a great discussion. Look, yesterday I was heavily thinking, and he came into the thought process. Let's quickly bring up Palmer. Look, this is where I stand on Palmer. I think he's a great option to start the season with. I actually think he's actually slightly underrated. Not that we've seen him be electric in preseason or anything, but I just think he could do very well versus Fulham and Brighton. Now, I'll also add, Brighton, that fixture is on 2 o'clock on Sunday the 30th of August. When do Brighton play against Villa on the 23rd. What's going on? Villa on the 23rd, and a 3-day turnaround, or 4-day turnaround from Villa at home to Tromsø, and then a 3-day turnaround to Chelsea again. How many games is that? That's 3, 6, 10, 13 days. They've 4 games, and they play the full team and need to win that game because it's a playoff. I think Palmer could do great against Brighton, and I think the projections for Chelsea will go up once we see Brighton, if they do play, a strong squad versus that game in the Conference League. And last season, like you said, Chess Quickie, 4 goals versus Brighton from them 2 seasons ago. They also play a Arbeloa Fulham that we're yet to see in a London derby. Not that it means he's going to be a good option, but just something to consider. Nando's on the way back, and the Prem is on tonight. Should be a great Friday, says Dude. And I hope I'm making some of your decision making even easier, Dude. But yeah, Nando's, top tier food chain. Philip Wisdom, thank you for subscribing, my friend. And again, I know I keep asking, but if you don't ask, you don't get. I hope you're enjoying the content, so do hit the like button if you are enjoying. Will Gross be on pens with Brighton's new striker, says Finlay. I am sceptical. I think there's still a good chance he will be. Calvert-Lewin or Brobby? Calvert-Lewin or Brobby? Calvert-Lewin is the better option. Penalties. Is Sesko back? Sesko's back in training. Thank you, George, for letting the guys know about the code, by the way. Thank you, Fazlo, for subscribing. I wonder, can we get close to 12,000 subs this stream? That would be huge. I know it's a massive 450 away, but imagine. Thoughts on Bruno Fernandes and Calafiori versus Palmer and Gabriel? Bruno and Calafiori is probably safer. Let's be real. You know what, guys? I'm not going to lock this in. But for now, I'm going to put in Solace. Solace or Ndiaye just got asked in chat. I'm going to put in Solace. And the reason I'm going to do it now is because I'm cautious, by the way. Do not leave your transfer till the very end. If you do that, you have and run the risk of the game crashing, which it can do in game week 1. So I'm going to bring in Solace. And the reason I want to do it now is because I look at this team now and I just think it's so fun. Solace, Mbeumo, Szoboszlai, Semenyo, the 3 best strikers in the league. Virgil, who no one's talking about and is great at getting DEFCON, with a great 5 opening fixtures. And Van Heck. Really like it, lads. One thing on Van Heck, lads, and again, I'm a Spurs fan, so it doesn't mean my opinion's any better, but I'd like to think that I'm a bit more in tune about kind of what we can expect about Van Heck. He is capable of getting jammy FPL assists because he's one of the best ball progressors in the league. He has good attacking threat in the air. He scored 3 goals last season, I think it was, and 3 assists. And his DEFCON numbers are not bad at all. The games are good enough in game week. They're good enough in game week 1 to 5 where, you know, the clean sheet probabilities are not any more than 25%. But they're hard enough at the same time where he can get DEFCON. And that's why I think Van Heck is a good shout at 5 million. And let's do a little scroll on what some of the 5 million options are. And we'll break them down player by player. Let's filter by price. A link has been given to me by Spacine. No Bruno Guimaraes, no Gabriel Jesus, no Martinelli, no Nelson, no Konsa, and no Vieira. I mean, that's great information. I did hear that there is no Bruno Guimaraes, but this likely means that we're going to see probably what we expect. And thank you for sending that on, Spacine. Anyone with information, be sure to pop it in chat and we'll make sure to pick it up. Anyway, back to the 5 millions and we'll get to your question, the fitness guys. No Haaland and no Bruno thoughts. And what are your thoughts on all the big content creators going with Bruno Fernandes? Again, we'll answer that in just a second. Out of the 5 millions, right? Again, the Bournemouth ones don't appeal to me just yet. You have Weaver, who I actually don't think is bad. Vuskovic would be top of the tree for me if I knew he was nailed in the first 5. Again, Conference League football sandwiched in there. I just see him missing out 1 or 2 games in the first 5. Same with Pascal Strike. Then we move on to Richards. Look, Palace are a bit of an unknown. Everton, City, Fulham away. Expect him to concede in all 3. Same with Canvo, who's great at DEFCON. Michael Keane, I don't think I'll go there with Brantwaite being fit. O'Brien, not the greatest with DEFCON. Muharemovic, great option. Thank you, Ohas Yanni, for subscribing to the channel, man. Muharemovic is a great option. I just want to say that. And this goes back to my point about clean sheet probability. It's Spurs versus Leeds when I talk about Van Heck. And let's filter by clean sheet probability. Leeds are currently, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15th on the list for clean sheet probability. Now, the fixture in game week 3 obviously skews that, as Spurs don't have one of those, you know, harder games. But that's why I think I prefer Van Heck. You're getting, in my opinion, he's going to be worse at getting DEFCON, no doubt about it. But probably similar goal threat and a small bit less worse DEFCON. And as nailed as Amur Haramovic. Alright, then I look at some of the other options in the list. You have a Jeremy Jacquet. Again, I think he could be a great option at 5 million. Similar what I'm saying about Van Dijk in terms of fixtures. The issue with Jacquet is how nailed he's going to be. I could easily see a Araujo filling in there. 100% can see it. Liverpool also have Champions League come game week 3. Yusuf says, you sold me on Van Heck. Spurs defense was too good was too good on the end of last season. Again, also one of the best XGI defenses last year, or XG conceded defenses last year. Thank you, Dil Murad, for subscribing to the channel. So Jeremy Jacquet I like. I just don't feel having to start him, comfortable starting him every week. Maguire, I think most of us have him. Martinez, Yarrow, don't think they'll start. Malik Chow will be in everyone's team come game week 4. And if you are starting the season with him, by the way, DEFCON monster, don't mind him at all. Nico Williams, another one who I like, but again, just not as high on his fixtures. Like, when I look at Forest's fixtures, thank you Music for subscribing. Forest have Liverpool away, Leeds at home, and Tottenham at home. They do not scream clean sheets to me. And sorry, Brighton, just to go back to your question. Are you that keen on the Spurs defence? No, I'm not at all keen on the Spurs defence. When Roberto De Zerbi was with us, his risky build-up tend to be dangerous for free chances going wrong and turnovers. And I can understand what you're saying. What I think this time around, though, is it's a different quality of players. Now, that is a bit ignorant for me to say, Brighton. I know. But Senesi and Van Hecke, and thank you, Samarid, are the best ball-playing centre-halves in the league. And I know that you had Van Heck. But also Archie Gray and Pedro Porro when they do play. And Andrew Robertson. I just think with that midfield also, we'll be much better on the ball than, you know, at Brighton at the time. Now, I know it's not a quality thing because you had Caicedo. You had Baliba. Unbelievable on the ball. I just think at Tottenham, it might be a different story. Again, ignorance, 100%. Thank you for everyone who subscribed, by the way, in the last few minutes. Thank you, Omkar. Sorry, where was I? I lost my train of thought, ladies and gents. Nick, NDI transfer links make me nervous going over Shade. Exactly. And if you're going with Shade, I like it. Yeah, Kirka's in that Iraola system could be interesting. He's another one that presses very, very high. Duncan 22-23 was class. I agree, Cubby. And it was no disrespect, by the way. Brighton even last season were amazing for XG conceded. I think it was the 3rd best in the league. Again, I just mean from you know what I'm expecting from Tottenham. I expect them to be really good on the ball anyway. And it can't be any worse from what we've seen from Tottenham last year. Brighton FPL. I mean, we had Kevin Danso, Pedro Porro, Van de Ven, and a midfield of Gray at points, Pap Matassar, Conor Gallagher, and we also looked somewhat functional on the ball. And I know we didn't get to stamp his play style, but Chewy said, where did Skilly man go? I'm sorry, Chewy man. I also, like, if you were to ask me now if you were to get a big move or not, I think there's a good chance he is going to get a big move. And you're right, I did skip over Big Dan Ballard, but I already covered him. Sean, let me bring up Ballard for you, my friend. The reason I don't love Dan Ballard is, again, if I'm looking more long term, I think if I'm on a wildcard 4, by all means go Ballard. But if you're looking any longer than wildcard 4, thank you Prime for the subscription. Filtering by first 5, clean sheet probability. Sunderland are currently 16th. How would you look at that? Liam with 10 months and a nice and lovely message. Thank you, Liam. Genuinely, put a smile on my face. Anyone who was supporting the channel that bit more. Thank you, Eliwitis, who subscribed. He says, hey Chai, I am super excited for the new season. Nerves are starting to kick in. Everyone get those memberships and subs in. It's a great community to join. And thank you, Otlitling. Sorry for the pronunciation, by the way. Otlitling for the subscription. Liam, you're an absolute legend. I hadn't realised that your subscription was up on 10 months. Thank you, Liam, for the subscription. I agree. The nerves are starting to kick in for me as well. And you know what I'm getting nervous about? Arsenal versus Coventry game week 1 and only having one option from those. Again, if you're looking to become a member, by the way, like Liam said, click the join button. I don't know if there is, and this will sound like an absolute scam, by the way. I know it's an option for you guys. But there is an option. It's more expensive, and I do not recommend anyone to do it. I'm talking about my own channel, and I should be promoting it, but I actually don't recommend any of you guys to do it. But I think it's a more expensive option, and I'm willing to give one-on-one advice every single week. Now, again, some people will hate that, and if you hate it, by all means, tell me to F off. The reason I left it there as an option is in case you wanted to support the channel any more than you already are by tuning in every single week or becoming a member. Again, I just said I'd leave the option there. Absolutely don't do it, because yes, I am scamming you for that option. No, seriously though, guys, I do really appreciate the support. Sorry, so that's why on the Dan Ballard. I think if you're going first three, still good. But even that third fixture, 19%. Not even Spurs having 19% in there. The first game is 21%, but again, from there on, it looks good for long term. Chewy says, I get it long term, my friend. He says he stays personally because Everton are asking for 75 million, and I don't know if anyone's willing to match that bid. That's fair, Chewy. But with a player who is halfway out the door in his head, and if I'm Iliman and Jai, he's been there for a bit now. Like, do you really want to stay at Everton? Like, I look at him similar to Eze. He could stay at Everton for, or stay at Palace like Eze did, for one more season, and have that season that warrants him that big move then. So that's why I'm just cautious. Hey Chai, I saw Coventry's clean sheet is now 39%, not 34%, like it used to be on Fancy Football Scout. Sunderland around 31% for Fulham at home in game week 2.
Isak and Semenyo or Palmer and Thiago? BB2FH3 no Holland.
Thank you, Bakar, for the 690. I don't know what currency that is. And sorry, I'm just going to answer a question before I answer this. I did see something. Right and back says Chris. I'll answer that in just a second. I heard you on the radio today, says Marvel. Thank you, Marvel. I did think we might see someone who is Irish in here. For anyone who's unfamiliar, I was on Today FM, Irish radio today. Very proud moment for me, and always great to talk to Dave. But welcome, and I hope you're here to stay. And Otlo says, dude, you nailed my name. It's rare anyone gets it. I knew I wouldn't be too far. Let's answer the super chat. It's Le Bakar has sent 690 Israeli new shekel. I didn't even know that was a thing. And that is today's equivalent to, out of curiosity, $3. Thank you for the super chat. And to answer your question, Isak and Semenyo and Palmer and Thiago, I'm on bench boost 2, free hit 3, no Haaland. Right, let's answer this. And for me, there's only one answer. The only answer is Isak and Semenyo. And the reason I say that is you get two much better fixtures. For Liverpool, you get better team, better player, Isak and Semenyo, than Palmer and Thiago. I think that's fair to say across the board. The only thing you probably don't get is the minutes for Isaac versus Thiago, but you're probably getting the minutes from Semenyo to Palmer. So I'm going to say Isaac and Semenyo. I've got the same partnership, so I actually think it would be very unfair for me to say anything other than the two I own. But Palmer and Thiago are great. They are great. Is used from Palace a good mid bench option? No extra funds to upgrade Gomez. Look, he's going to get game time off the bench, but I would prefer taking a risk towards a Hemmings. The reason I say that is because people are going to transfer Hughes out if they're going to be starting him. And then you're going to lose value on Hughes and go to 4.4. So I would go from Hemmings from Villa to for the opportunity cost. Thank you, Vimy, for subscribing. Congrats, says Chloe. Congrats, says Shiv. Wow, congratulations on being on the radio. Thank you, M. Dot. Very kind words, ladies and gents. I do appreciate it. Let me get back to Chris's question. He says, this is getting serious. To bench boost or not to bench boost? I would not bench boost that, Chris, personally, man. But I also wouldn't feel comfortable leaving those funds on the bench. Barcola to Liverpool is happening, says Jack. What price would we consider him? I would consider him at 7.5 million, I think. At 7.5 million, he's the same price as Florian Wirtz. Again, I don't think he's yet world class, but has the capabilities to be. I have 6.5 million already, have Solace. Who's the next best? The next best might be a Martin Odegaard. Do you know what? Why has no one talked about Solace, Odegaard double up in midfield? Where are Arsenal on projections for goals? On goals, they are quite high, third on this list. Maybe that's something to consider, ladies and gents. No Arsenal, I've got Solace. What's the problem? My back is killing me, lads. Sorry. If I drop my phone again, lads. If I drop it one more time. Why Diop over Davis for a 1 week punt? I've got Diop over Davis because of DEFCON. And if I am going to play Diop, I'm hoping it's going to be season long, which I think he will be. Are you not concerned about Diop's ownership? Well, I'm hoping that no one is expecting too much from Diop of 4 million. I don't think people have him because they're starting him. Will Consta start? Or will Consta play? No, not the first two, in my opinion. Go on, Choi, says M. Dot. Thank you. Team reviews and reply. Maybe later, Finlay. Are you bench boosting? I am not bench boosting. Nor do I plan on it. Do you know what I just realised? If I upgrade that keeper slot, I can actually bench boost it in game week 2. But again, just don't love it. Is Richarlison worth the punt? Not for me, man. It's not to say he can't score. He loves a goal when he plays. Ipswich at home is not a bad fixture versus Sunderland. For Issa Diop. It's not at all. Not bad. Ndiaye and Rodgers or Szoboszlai and Solace? Szoboszlai and Solace. By the way, 2 Z's. I just realised that. Szoboszlai and Solace. Will Robert Sanchez start? I think so. No Haaland and no Bruno. Tots. Don't love it. I feel like you have to have one of the other to captain. Okay, let's do another little scroll in the timeline, lads. Again, I hope you're enjoying. Thank you, Khaled, for the subscription. Much love, man. Let's see if we can get to the 11,600 by the end of 6 o'clock. Updated Rob T graphic. Let's go, guys. Before we do that, I just want to look at have the projections changed for Arsenal in the last hour or so. Fixtures, Arsenal. Have they gone up or down for goal scoring? They have gone up, back up to 0.58. Interesting. Anyway, back to the graphic from Rob T. Do follow Rob T if you aren't already. For me, some of the best in the business in terms of graphics. No surprise to see Arsenal. 54% though on that graphic. What do Joe have him in terms of bookies? Projections, clean sheet. They're going down. 4% down in the last 2 hours, I want to say. That's notable. And definitely really interesting. Can you explain Rodon and Solace over Williams and Odegaard? I don't know. look, for me, Roden, best 4.5, or one of the best 4.5 if it's not IR. Don't mind Leeds' first opening fixtures. And I like Solis's opportunity on that left wing. I just think he's a very exciting pick. He's looked a very out-and-out goal scorer in the last league he was in. Yeah, mad to see though. Arsenal 54% chance of clean sheet. For perspective, by the way, lads, that's the same odds as... Okay, there are no 54%. It's still very good. I was going to say the same as City in game week 3, but that's only 45. Jeez. Still astronomically high. Again, the final team will be locked in about 10 minutes before the end of the stream. Everton, Crystal Palace looking like a low scoring game. Forest Leeds, also not the highest projected scores. Interesting that Brighton and Villa, I thought it was a bit closer come the end of the week, but it looks like they're still edging Brighton. Newcastle, Liverpool. Liverpool is still quite high in the projections. United 2.22. Again, when I see something like this and I've got double Liverpool attack, like, I'm not awfully worried that I've only got one United attacker. Of course, Bruno, a lot more of the goals come through him, but still, fancy my chances. Ipswich versus Sunderland. Again, 1 goal apiece. Hard to split them. Spurs versus Brentford. Again, going to be a very tight game. City 2.34 to start the season. And I've got double City defense, or double City attack. I think their attack is going underneath the radar. Anand, thank you for subscribing. I just wonder, like, is there a world where I go 7 million Phil Foden, triple up on the City attack, really attack those first 5 fixtures, where City are absolutely high on the projections? Again, just something to think about as well. And then lastly, Fulham versus Chelsea. Chelsea actually quite high on 1.8. Hey bro, see you again, says Harren. Hello Harren, my friend, hope you're well. But yeah, lads, drop me a comment, lads, in the comments. What do you think type of content would you like to see from myself, other than the obvious team selection that I'm going to do? What is it you'd like to see? Am I missing anything that you think I should be doing? My problem with my content is that, you know, it's very me based about on my team. You know, if I talk about stats, then it hits a bit more of a general audience. Really hope can punish the non-owners. So many teams on my timeline going non-Haaland. Yeah, on that note, actually, let's look at some teams on the timeline, because that's a very good point, Chewy. Interesting. Hadley's gone with the bench boost with the Defconners. Mr. Defcon going Defcon. Shout out Tom, man. Lovely guy. Winners and losers of the week. Sorry, I've gone past it now. Sorry guys, let's do a little spy on the timeline. Simon Marsh is also going Haaland. He's also has Iliman in the eye. He seems to be firm on in the eye. Ornstein Bomba. What is Ornstein telling me? Don't tell me Omar Mamouche has just been announced, or I'll lose my shite. Ooh! Thank you, Emil. That is spicy, man. Yankuba Minta to Liverpool looks very much on the cards. £70 million. I hope it happens. And the reason I was so excited about this is because Cody Gakpo to Spurs would also happen in that case. That deal is dependent on Liverpool signing a winger. Again, Yankuba Minta is injured. No, it does not mean no Barcola. Again, Minta is currently injured, so... Gutsa, thank you for the subscription. Right, getting my haircut. What are you locking in, pal? Gutsa, I'll tell you at 6:19. 619. We're not getting him by. Look, for what it's worth, I think Jan Kuba Mint is a great player. Would be a good FPL option. Good points, Basine. Odd transfer since Mint is out for 8 to 10 weeks. I don't think it's an odd transfer at all. I think it means that they're still going to sign Mboy or Barcola. 6 million Liverpool winger. You're absolutely right. Could be dangerous, you know. Defcon winger as well, by the way. Alright, let's look at one more team and then we'll get back to my own team, guys. And by the way, for anyone who's wondering what my locked in team is, I'm 80% sure this is going to be my team. I would be very surprised. Again, part of me is thinking 1 million and NDI. And maybe go... I could also go Soboslai Foden. What county are you from? Marvel, I'm from down south, Waterford. Sup bro, will you do an early wildcard? No, absolutely not. You know what? Because you guys have commented on the post and are supporting the channel on the deadline post, I'm actually going to go to... is it that bad that I'm sat here thinking there's not enough Defcon here? Sorry, I'm just going to get back to Tom. I'm going to go to my post because you guys have interacted with my posts for the stream, which of course really helped me and my algorithm in terms of people interacting and joining here. And by the way, I'm going to ask you again, hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you, Lil Bizza. Trying to hit 12k subs. You got to come to Dublin for one of the game weeks. Absolutely, Martha, we can make that happen. I'm actually in Dublin on the weekend, by the way. I'm going to see The Weekend. Looking forward to it. Shoney says the sunny southeast. Absolutely. Bull Invest, if you're in here. Very nice team, my friend. Kind of doing what I'm doing here, except with the Arsenal guys. Pedro Porro on the bench for later game weeks. I'm going to give that team a 8.5 out of 10, my friend. Very nice. Finlay is also in here. Again, Finlay, really like the team. I feel like it's hard to have a bad team at this point. Anyone who's tweeting teams are fairly locked in. As a Liverpool fan, I'm nowhere near as bullish as you, to be honest. And Liverpool fans I did see are the most pessimistic fans for the start of the season. And sorry, let me go to Finlay's team. Finlay, this is a 7.8 out of 10, my friend. Very nice. Just on Liverpool. Look, I know that you probably, after last year's season, can understand or are probably really pessimistic. And rightfully so. But the markets, man, are so hot on you guys for the first 5. Not because anything to do with you, really. It's the fixtures. The fixtures are so good. And you still have some of the best players in the league, from my opinion. So, nice one, Marvel. You're from Cork. So, I still think you can start season long. Whatever about season long or Champions League. Look, I think you might struggle with Champions League. But I just think Iraola, good manager, man. Quality manager. And then there was one more team in here, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back to my post. Yeah, you started spamming with comments as soon as I went and told you. What is Chewy doing? Chewy, man, that's a whole lot of red and blue. My god. Actually, it's only red and blue and a little bit of pink. Chewy, man, love that team. No surprise you're back in the Chelsea, boys. I really like that. Can you give a shout out to Dripsy? Shout out Dripsy, man. Chewy, are you confident on a Walla Egley start? I don't know if I'm confident. Nice team though. Yo Chai, another bid for Yankuba Minter rejected. Interesting. Thoughts, no planned cards. My thoughts on this, and I'm going to give it a number. Sorry, I already looked at this team. Big on bench boost 2. Van Hecken there, my guy. Dango, Anderson, and Gross. I think that's interesting. And four Coventry on the bench, is it? My God. Thank you, On Min. I'm gonna give this team a 7.8. You're trying to knock the bench boost out early. I'd just be interested to see where you're when you're wildcarding, Sean. This guy says, help me. I'm gonna say this is very spicy. I'm going to give this team a 8.8. I love the 1 week punt on a 4.5 Robertson. 1 week punt on an O'Neill, providing he plays. Odegaard in there. Shade. You've gone with double Arsenal defence, but Gabriel. That's a nice team, man. Love that. Cunha, if you're in here, here is what I think. Again, template front three. Template midfield. No complaints from me. Bench boost 1. Don't absolutely love, but it's still an 8. It's just such a good team in terms of structure. I'm going to give it an 8. Again, I think Gomez blanks. IR gets Defcon versus Spurs. Diop blanks. So it's very hard for me to call it any higher. Sulav, if you're in here, my friend. This is... Oh, a nice mix in here. Trafford, who loves Leeds, by the way. I'm going to say this is a... No Haaland. No... The problem with this, again, the question for me is when are you wildcarding? Double Chelsea and you're in trouble in game week 3. No City, and across the first 5, they are the absolute best attack. I think you're going to be kicking yourself in game week 3 if you're not free hitting or wildcarding. Alright, I'm going to take one more here from No Way. Help Tots. Any changes needed? Gross, good or Shade? Help me. Help me. I like the way it's a cry for help. Again, double up on Sunderland, but you have rotation at least. Really like this team. Look, I just want to say something on Van Heck. I know I'm rating your teams in here, and I'm here promoting Van Heck. I would just say that I would not recommend anyone to go with Van Heck in a sense where if you want to go with a Dan Ballard, if you want to go with a Muhemrovic or a Vuskovic or anyone along those lines, by all means, don't go there ahead of Van Heck. Again, there is some part of me that looks at Van Heck and thinks, you know, there is maybe some bit of bias there. I don't like the fact that I'm doubled up on the Spurs defence, but at the same time, to create some variance, what you do is you double up on teams, co-variance. So I don't mind it in that sense. And sorry, just on this team. Interesting team. I'll give it a 7.6. Again, only because it really depends on wildcard. And without knowing the context, it's hard to recall. Or I give a better number. Why Bobby Thomas over Van Uyck? I think Bobby Thomas is going to be better, probably Flick-ons, Defcon. Arsenal defender over Van Heck. You know, the fitness guys, sorry, I did see your post and you were the last one. And you're probably sad that I didn't look at your team. So just to be nice, I'll go to yours as well. Because I did see your name briefly pop up here. MC. And sorry if I... what we can do is before the stream ends, we can answer some of your last ones. Tough, my boy. I'll get to your team after. That's actually... You've Ahmed in there. You know how I feel about that. I'm going to give that team an 8. MC, right. Davis in here. Davis, you're still in here, my boy. And I love that you're using my guy... What's his name? Alex Follows graphics. By the way, do check out Next AI if you aren't already. Isaac is in there. I really like Davis's approach. He's doing something a bit different. I'm going to give that team an 8.8, man. I really like the approach, Davis. And in some ways, you remind me of myself as a manager. I really like it. And again, I know you also like Fran as a manager, so maybe that's where it comes from. Not to say that we're any bit like Fran. MC, where are you, man? I know you got lost in... There you are. There you are, my friend. Hello, Paul. Welcome back to the streams, my guy. One of the other longest reigning channel members. What do I think about Matisse Tell? And sorry, let me just answer MC's team. That's a lot of money on the bench, MC. That's my only problem with this team. Also, I would not have Calafiori on the bench. I don't know how you have Calafiori on the bench because that is a great starting 11. I would have Florian Wirtz on the bench before putting Calafiori on the bench. And if you're a bench boosting, I would activate the bench boost. And for anyone who's chat who hasn't, make sure you've activated the bench boost. Harry's in here lurking as well. Good to see Harry. Your team should I just joined. There you go, Abid, my friend. There's my team. Fairly comfortable. Mikolenko bench boost 1. Hate that, man. I don't like Mikolenkovic. Mikolenkovic. It's been a long stream, ladies and gents. I hope you understand. Mikolenko, don't love. Just on Tell, if I could make one week punt, it would be Matisse Tell. The reason being, 1, I'm a Spurs fan. No shit. 6 million though gets you corners with no Pedro Porro. On both sides, I think it might be. Free kicks with no Pedro Porro, unless Madison is on the pitch. Penalties for the last 30 minutes, assuming Richarlison gets an early sub. And he's also been electric in pre-season. Anton, good to see my boy. He says, what about Gibbs White? For me, Gibbs White is 1 million or 0.5 million too expensive. Look, I don't think he's a bad option to start the season. I personally don't love him. But if you're going there, why not? Love your team, says Jacob. I cannot decide between Solis and Lafie. What are your thoughts? I'm 100% preferring Solis in that case. Guys, just to know, I'm not bench boosting. Liam says, I'm pretty set on on no Arsenal attacker because I want to punt on Wilson. Do I switch to Tallies? Or do I switch to Solis? Again, what's scaring me about it, Liam, is that Arsenal are the highest projected scorers this week. And in previous seasons, I have played the long run and have been hurt. Why not Ndiaye? I love Ndiaye. Just scared he might be linked with a move away. You know, Solis has just joined. More likely, he's not going to make another move away after joining Arsenal. Is that even possible, by the way, ladies and gents? Has there ever been a transfer in a season to a team, and then that player, after signing the contract, is bought for another fee? I know there's been situations where the contract hasn't been fully signed, etc., etc. Foden isn't at his best, but he will feel like he can still pop off, and I agree with that. Part of me wonders, would I triple up on the City attack to go against people saying that City are not great to start the season? I would love to. But again, I'm just wary of a Sharky coming into that team and Doku coming back, even though I know he's out for a while. I'm trying to extend my wildcard for a while, and Solis isn't safe. And I can understand that. But in my own case, I've got Gomez to fill in game week 3 and 4. Which team do you support? I'm a Kai's man. ZJ says, hey bro, I've activated my Twitter account. I'll send you my number and don't forget to add me to the league before the deadline. Sorry ZJ, I do apologise for not having you in last time. But I will do. And anyone else who's looking to become a member, make sure you click the join button. Link in the description or the join button underneath the stream. If you didn't have Semenyo, would you get Foden? I don't know. For me, Semenyo and Foden are not a like for like. William went to Spurs training and then Chelsea came in. Yeah, I know that one, but there was no contract signed. Thomas or Diop for last defender? I'm going to say Thomas. Better team. Better DEFCON, maybe. Better attacking threat. Koi says Shadow. Good to see you, Shadow. Toast on Odegaard. Look, for what it's worth, I think Odegaard is a great option. Any Arsenal midfielder, really, for game week 1 is. And I know in game week 2 I'll be questioning myself why I went Solis. Alright guys. I know I've spoke about my team for game week 1. Let me show you why I think it's so good. And on paper, if you don't like it in game week 1 because of Arsenal assets, I understand. Can we follow your team? By all means do it, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. I don't think I'm the best manager out there. By the way, this is on FPL team. So, I have just went Solis in this position. So let me put in Solis. And I'm going to show you my plan for the next coming weeks. Thank you for subscribing, Lee McVery. Much appreciated. And Solace should go in here. And 0.5 million. Thank you, Brian. We've broken the 600 subscriber mark. Let's see if we can get to 12k by the end of the stream. I know it's a big ask. And Sob here. Right, the 2S T. My English is not Englishin. Anyway, here's the team for game week 1. Looks brilliant. I like it. No Arsenal fans, problem, sure. Game week 2, it looks like this. Now that is beautiful, ladies and gents. Thank you for subscribing, Ahmed. Lovely set of fixtures for all the teams who are going to be highest on the projections next week. I look at next week's projections, the highest in order. United, the only team I'm missing, but then triple up on the Liverpool attack. Double up on the City attack. One Arsenal attacker. I really like it. Next week, game week 3, and I know this is far in advance. João Pedro drops to the bench. Gomez comes in with Leeds at home and benching João Pedro and Arsenal away. Now, there is a decision to make with this. Because if I've got no Arsenal defence, well, why wouldn't I play the Chelsea attacker? My mate Josh said that to me. And I think it's a fair proposition. But again, look at some of the fixtures. Triple Liverpool versus Ipswich away. Double City in place. With nothing to worry about. With having to get a Haaland or a Semenyo. No chip in use. Gomez, who I get to see and assess in the first 2 game weeks. Solace I can make a decision on. And I have the opportunity to play Pedro if I want to. Van Heck with a better fixture than the first 2. With Forest. I love it, lads. I love it, I love it, I love it. There's a world in which I think Isaac gets the armband in 3. Again, not certain on that because Haaland's fixture is that good. Thank you, Winston, for subscribing. And then we get to game week 4. This is where things get a bit tricky. And moves have to be made, right? The problem points in this team, initially looking at it. Mbeumo is a problem. Not necessarily a problem, but City at home could be good on transition, but in an ideal world, you don't love it. Maguire, thank you for subscribing, Reda. And that number is shooting up, by the way. Keep them coming, lads. I will want Cole Palmer in game week 4. I'm going to tell you that now. I'm going to tell you that in 4 weeks, unless he's looked terrible. 1 million to make up. All it means I should do is Virgil van Dijk to Palestra. Thank you for subscribing, Yash. And I can do Maguire to Malik Chow. Lads, this is with no wildcard, using transfers. Look at that team. I can get to that team with 3 free transfers. Now, issues are going to arise, but to read it out for anyone who's listening. Kinski with Everton at home. Van Heck with Everton at home. Palestra with Hull at home. Malik Chow Leeds away. Solace Sunderland away. Palmer triple captain, which I would do in this week if I'm feeling tasty. Szoboszlai Fulham at home. Gomez Coventry away. Pedro Hull at home. Isaac Fulham away. And Haaland United away. Thank you, Matthew, for subscribing. This looks like a free hit team, I would argue. Game week 5 then, it looks like this. Again, it doesn't look as pretty. Villa is not an ideal fixture for Spurs. But outside of that, I don't think you have any complaints with that type of team. And then we get to game week 6. The week in which I think needs a wild card. Mbeumo has Tottenham at home versus double Spurs defence with United away. Double City attack versus... double Liverpool attack versus City. And Erling Haaland versus Liverpool. Not ideal. That's why I think it could also look really good. Not only that, but we have a 1 month international break come game week 6. Everyone is bench boosting and wildcarding, right? Do you know how many injuries we usually see in the international break? I know it's hyped up more than it normally is. Based on the volume we actually get. But we are going to see some injuries. 100%. And you're telling me people are not going to have wildcards in the bank if things go tits up to react. By the way, we have 17 minutes until the deadline. I do hope you're enjoying. Smash the like button. Get it to 300. I don't know what it is on now. But I really hope you're enjoying the stream as much as I am. Thank you, Little Wing. It's been a really enjoyable stream so far, ladies and gents. Soboslai averts. I'm on Soboslai, so it's hard for me to tell you otherwise. Yo, FPL GW1, can you rate my team, please? Here it is. Thank you for subscribing, Mina. Ayar, Baller, Mbuemo, Semenyo, Sob. I like that. Bench boost to game week 2. If you're bench boosting, I still like it. I'm going to say an 8.2 for that team. And sorry guys if I've not been answering your questions as much. Gomez versus Ndiaye. I don't think it's a fair question. Ndiaye is a better asset. Prafool, good to see you too, my friend. It's been a long time. Is this the final squad? I'm looking like this is the final squad, if you're to ask me right now. Thank you for subscribing, Calvin. We are 370 away from 12k subscribers. We couldn't, could we? The Greater Writer says thank you, Chai. No worries at all, man. Do you think Mascara starts game week 1? 100%. On that note, let's do a little scrolling on the timeline. Oh, I want to see that graph from Solio. Here's Solio Analytics' projections for the week. Bruno Fernandes, 7 expected points. Haaland, 6.7.
Virgil and Sully or California and word Scott Gobry.
Thank you, Mac, for the £2 super chat. He says Virgil and Solace or Calafiori and Verts. I've got Gabriel. Ooh, that is tough. Mac, before I answer, can you let me know? And thank you, Zach, for subscribing. Can you let me know in chat before I answer? When are you wildcarding? Context is important. If you're wildcarding in game week 4 or earlier, Virgil and Solace. If you're wildcarding any later, Calafiori. Sorry, if you're wildcarding late, Virgil and Solace, and if you're wildcarding early, Calafiori and Verts. Anyway, looking at the projections, guys, I've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 of the highest scoring 15 projected players this week. It's always good to see. Alright, I need to get on the timeline, ladies and gents. Back from food, welcome back, Brighton. Any team news? That's what we're going to do right now. Let's have a look to see if there's any more team news. Let's look at Connor. Nothing from Connor. And if you see anything, ladies and gents, be sure to let me know. And I would lock in your draft, by the way, 5 minutes before the deadline, or else your team is going to crash. Has a chance of crashing. I would lock in now, to be honest. Can we see your team? Here's my team. Pause if you need. I need to see if there's going to be any updates or any leaks. I don't think there is going to be leaks. Yes, choice, says Dylan Mason. Good to see you, Dylan, my friend. Alright guys, I don't think we currently have any information. I'd go as far as saying we don't have any information. And to be honest, I don't think we need it. I think Solace is going to start. Am I happy with Solace in my team? Absolutely I am. Do I think Solace is better than Odegaard? That's the next question. I want to look at Odegaard's minutes. 84, don't mind that. 120 for England, all match versus England. How can I see last season? I want to see last season, man. It doesn't look like it's letting me see last season. Anyway, I know his minutes are good. I just wanted to see where the early subs are at. I think I'm comfortable going Solace, but am I going for the tiny or the shiny new toy? I think I'm happy to not go with Arsenal defender. Chai league code. Anyone who hasn't already, subscribe, hit the like button, and join the league code YAKNO. YAKNNO. Who is Arsenal's penalty taker without Gyökeres starting? Do we think it'll be Saka? And if no Saka, then it'll be Kai Havertz. All we know is that Jesus Martinelli not in the team. I just had a dream and I just had a really big deja vu. But thank you, Chewy, for letting us know. What is going on? That was really weird. João Pedro Havertz. João Pedro for sure. Arian says, Choi, I have his Isaac instead of Bruno. Just like you, but I'm bench boosting with Diop, Verbergen, Gomez and IR. Is it worthwhile? I think if your expectations are 10 points you'd be happy with, then I would say yes. Again, it really depends on how ambitious you are with the bench boost. I would be aiming for 15 plus points. I don't think that bench has 15 points in it. Could be wrong though. I just want to bring up Odegaard one more time, ladies and gents. I think this is much closer than I'm giving it thought for. 200 points, 186 points, 116 points. 3,000 minutes, 3,000 minutes. When you look at that, lads, Prem proven. Do I go with Odegaard? In my mind, I'm like, Odegaard is a bit boring in comparison to Solis. But let's be real. In how Arsenal play, all of the front options are going to get opportunities. And maybe long term, Odegaard might be better. Just tick away nicely. 4 points, 4 points. He is the 6.5 million option as well. So my expectations are not the highest. Arsenal will score goals. Attitude just on a post on Twitter says, Chewy, have we got some information? FPL Twitter 1828. I know it's late, but I'll do what I can do. Okay. 1828. Thank you, Chewy. We will be waiting. Looks like we're going to get some news in 8 minutes. Stay tuned in the stream, lads. You're going to get it here. Don't be a Spurs fan right now. I think Odegaard, lads. I'm going to put in Martin Odegaard. How is he on the projections for Solio? Solio. Is he on the projections? Odegaard is 15th. Solis, tiny bit more. I'm going to be pissed if Solis does something though. That's the only thing because it's EO. I just think Odegaard might be better long term, you know. Any Arsenal fans in here to help me out? Oh, I don't know why I left it so late. Enzo Lafi or Solis? Solis. It is close. I think it's really close, chat. It comes down to minutes for me. Get him out, says Tough. No, Solis is better. Let's run a poll. Quick poll, lads. Vote ASAP. If you aren't subscribed, also subscribe. Look at Solis pre-season numbers. I know, but I don't really mind pre-season too much. Whereas Odegaard has done it. I want Odegaard, but I'm scared of EO. I'm not scared of EO, Davis. You know that. Solis better minutes. Davis, who is better minutes? Answer me that in one question. Come game week 4, I'm more interested in. Who has better minutes? Why 2 Spurs keepers? In case Kinski gets injured, then I'll have Dubravka. Odegaard or Solis, chat? Solis 75%. Odegaard did have a good World Cup as well. League code for the 500 that you are in here. Yakno. ZJ says longer term. Ode. Just seen Olympians captain Bruno. Ex-Olympian tax. Okay, lads. I'm going to go with corners. Solis. Simple. No Martinelli in the squad. Solis is the play. Sorry. Did we see that Arsenal account say no... Oh, what a G for Atlas. Shout out that guy, man. Solis isn't cheaper. He's the same price as Odegaard. I'm going to regret it either way, lads, I think. So I'm going to go and do... He said no Martinelli. Yeah, I think maybe no Martinelli does edge it. I still think Martinelli could make a move away and Arsenal can sign a left winger. Look, my concerns with Solis is exactly that. I still think Arsenal are going to sign a left winger. But I'm going to go with the short-term gains and hopefully be confident. Thank you, Paul Sagers. Or Cigar, similar to my boy Chris. Let's keep with Solis. Looks like I'm nailed in and locked for game week 1, ladies and gents. Thank you, Lars, for subscribing. What a team, am I right, chat? Let me quickly go on my phone and screenshot before I forget. Let's have the notifications ready for the Arsenal ITK. And thank you for atting me on that again. No Martinelli. For what's to come in terms of Arsenal news. We got told 6:28 and we're going to be here, all 550 of us. And while we wait, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe already, guys. I really appreciate all the feedback in game week 1 and preseason content. I mean, it's been absolutely amazing. Let's do 2 minutes of quickfire questions before we end the stream. Sorry, not end the stream, before we look at this post. Where are we then? Why not Gakpo over Szoboszlai? Because Gakpo could make a move to Spurs. Hello, Chai. Shall I go Gross or Sangari? I prefer Sangari, but I prefer Gross to start the season. Would you go Gabriel to Mosquera and Sabo to Palmer? Would I go Gabriel to Mosquera? I assume you mean the other way around. I'm confused. Good luck, mate. Just came across your page. Lovely stuff. Thank you, Ussa. Thank you, BMAT, for subscribing. Why not Calafiori? Because I want to use the 0.5 million more to go towards a Solis. What's your league code? Again, the league code, chat, is Yakno. Join up, don't forget. Double up on Solis and Odegaard. It is bold. I will definitely say that. Gabriel is a potential option. It's not a bad one. I'll tell you that for sure. Bro, change your pinned tweet ASAP. Why? What's wrong with my pinned tweet? Are you going to be releasing your team every week? Yes. On these deadline streams. In Buemo captaincy punt. I don't love that randomness. I'll be honest. Hey mate, Shade and KDH or Dango and NDI. Shadow and Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Is Guardiola good? He's not bad. 3 minutes, ladies and gents. And I'm going to use this other Twitter page to see if there's any other pages that are posting. Again, ladies and gents, we will try keep you posted. 2 minutes. Can you recommend me a W1 team only? Not only... That question doesn't make sense. Is Solis meta? He is definitely meta. Wrong team is pinned? What? Thank you, Mashallah, for subscribing. Jackie or Nico Williams? Nico Williams is safer. Alright, lads. We are currently 1 minute away until we're about to get the info on what is going on. Well, I hope he actually does drop. He said he's going to try. Let's see if it's something groundbreaking. Imagine it was something crazy. Like, what would it have to be? No Solis, Eze left wing, no Odegaard, something like that. No Gabriel, no Calafiori. Oh, that would make things go insane and crash the website. By the way, lads, I'm going to tell you again. Make sure your voice captain is set. Make sure your bench boost is active if you're using it. And please be locked in by now, because the website is likely to crash if it hasn't already. Looks like we're still good somehow. Gomez and Solis or enjoying Gross, please help me, man. I'm going to say enjoying Gross long term. Okay, here we go, lads. Let's bring back up to Twitter. Give us something. He's not going to give it to us, is he? He's trying to get the eyes back on his page. Let me go on my other account just in case there's any other ITKs letting us know. Thank you, Abuka. Come on, man. Give me something. We're all patiently watching. We're not going to get anything, lads. Are we? No, Const's not starting. He's not included. Declan, Kai, and Saka start. There you go, chat. There it is. Imagine it was wrong, by the way. Don't blame me if it's wrong. But looks to be a reliable source. Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Saka start. That is big news on the grand scheme of things. And the reason for it is because if you're on Bench Boost, and I had a very good feeling, Chris, I hope you're in here, to put Saka in that team. That's massive. That is absolutely massive. Thierry Henry starts. I think Rice was a bit of a doubt as well, so that's good confirmation. I'm going to refresh again just in case he gives us anything else. Deck start is huge. What about Calafiori White? Lads, Saka, I'm telling you, I don't know why people thought he wasn't ready for game week 1. And by the way, if you have Palmer, I would be willing to risk starting with Saka and pivoting. Saka says Chris. Chris, I hope you're clicking the buttons, my friend. Oh, that's huge. That's huge, guys. Okay, guys. It looks like that's about all the news we're going to get before the deadline. Again, I might stick around for a minute or two to make sure we don't get any more information. Not that it would be useful because we're pretty much all but locked. Again, to the 500 that are in here, if you haven't already subscribed, Moises Getty Ode White Solace says O'Malley. I don't know where you're seeing that, O'Malley. At me if you can. Good luck, everyone. Again, hit the like button. We're not leaving anywhere yet. I want to see if there's any more info. And it looks like the website has crashed. What a way for the stream and deadline to be hit than the website to be crashed. Absolutely brilliant. I'm going to quickly post about my team, guys, on the socials. Be sure to stick around if you want to see any more Arsenal information. Good luck to anyone if you're already clicking out of the stream, but I urge you to stay in. Again, because I'm going to try bring up the lineup if we can get it. Game week 1. Really happy with the team. I am setting up long term. Different to many, but happy to take a chance. Good luck. And everyone in here, send your team in the comments of this team. I won't be able to look at all of them, lads, but I would love to. Good luck all. Let me see your team below. And let's do a little cheeky fire emoji. Again, lads, I have to say, I think out of all the streams I've done, this is top 5 streams. Again, you guys made it very easy for me. But not only that, thank you, ZZ. I really enjoyed just, the preparation and pre-season. Finally able to drop as much content and then just, that's it now. And I just want to say to anyone who is watching, please don't be discouraged by game week 1. There are going to be players that you're not going to own that are going to do well. We play FPL for 38 weeks. If you can't go 1 week without head in hands, it's going to be hard for you. So just don't overreact based on game week 1. I'm going to do one more refresh on this account to see if there's anything. It doesn't look like there's anything. I want to do a cheeky spy on anyone else. For anyone else's, just to spy on anyone else's team. Sorry guys, my English wasn't Englishing. Game week 1 is always humbler. What has Pras done? Presses on the bench boost 1. You see, this is what I'm going up against. White and Calafiori. I love that he's got Semenyo though. I love that he's got Semenyo. Hand of Arsenal. Hand of Arsenal. Thanks, chat. Again, we'll be sticking around for just another second. Miles, sorry, there it is. Solace start. There you go, guys. Solace is starting. We appreciate you. Choices sharp. Outside the content too, it's our member chart. You're a part of the lads, which isn't always the case. We appreciate you, brother. And let the fun commence. The league is mine. For anyone who hasn't already, and if you want to become a member, click the join button. Be able to join my group chat. Nothing special. Again, a way to support the channel. Do you do these streams every single week? Yes, and we will be doing these every single week. We will be there no matter what. What is Oscar doing? Bench boost. I'm going to be 3 million after game week 1 after everyone copies content creators. Jorgen, congratulations. That's another thing I want to say, guys. Don't judge me by the first 5 game weeks. I'm expecting that I'm going to be probably about 1 million based on the amount of Bruno Fernandes, the amount of bench boosts, the amount of bench boosts too. So keep that in mind. I'm here for the long run. Good luck, everybody. Okay, guys. We've pretty much got all the information. Thank you, Nai, for subscribing that we wanted. I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, still 300 of you in here. A massive, 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 massive thank you to everyone who supported the preseason channel. I apologise if I've not been able to get back to all of you, but I hope you can understand. Do let me know on any content that is to come what you want to see from me. Look, I'm going to really, really try this season to keep you up to date as much as possible and not only talk about my own team. I know talking about my own team gets boring after a period of time. So I'm cautious of that. But I'm going to wrap it up there. Many thank you to everyone in chat. Again, do say your goodbyes in chat before we go. Thank you so much, lads. I'm going to wrap it up there. And as usual, I will see you in the next.